Therefore, in Uganda, the hospitality industry is firmly integrated with our agriculture except for rice and wheat. In order to launch our agriculture on the journey of socio-economic transformation away from the pre-capitalist, pre-socialist traditional mode to modern commercial agriculture, we have done the following. Roman 1, politically mobilize through sensitization the people to move away from the pre-money, working only for the stomach, to commercial agriculture with the chibaro, with the calculation. 67% of the homesteads in Uganda are now in the money economy for the first time in human history. At independence, only 9% were in the money economy. By 2013, only 32% were in the money economy. That is why I had to involve the army to distribute seedlings. We had to involve the army to distribute seedlings. I was begging these villagers to get out of poverty. They are in poverty, but they are not bothered. So we had to go there and beg them, please, please, get out of poverty. Here is coffee seedlings, plant them. Roman 2, through scientific research, ensure good quality seeds. I salute our scientists for developing a long list of improved seeds, higher yields, disease-resistant, drought-resistant, etc. Roman 3, sensitize farmers about the best agro practices, spacing, mulching, water conservation, etc. 4, ensure disease control, immunization, spraying against pests, etc. 5, ensure food safety against aflatoxins. 6, to stabilize agriculture, have standby irrigation using gravity or solar-powered water pumps. This will eliminate the risks of the erraticness of the rain. 7, use fertilizers to restore the nutrients in the soil. 8, conduct soil mapping to determine what can grow where. 9, discourage land fragmentation on inheritance because it creates land with disability, land that can no longer do certain enterprises because of the smallness. With these measures, Africa will be a superpower economically. Since ancient times, this part of Africa had strong agriculture. We always have 2 harvests in a year. The harvest of Katumba, the season of March to end of May, and Omwaka, the big harvest of August to December. The harvest of May is called Wijegashe, the small harvest, and the one of August to December is called Omwaka, the big yearly harvest. All this was with the traditional technology and just the rain-fed agriculture. In some areas, however, there was some irrigation in ancient Egypt and the Kilimanjaro area. When Henry Morton Stanley walked through this area, Congo, Uganda, Tanzania, between 1887 and 1889, he wrote as follows on pages 298 and pages 371 to 372, respectively, of his book entitled In Darkest Africa, Volume 2. This is in quotes. A march of an hour and a half in the afternoon, apparently not far from the river, brought us to the populous district of the Babusese. The banana plantations were very extensive, reminding me of Uganda, and their shades covered a multitude of huts. This was in the diary of Henry Stanley, which he wrote on December 5th, 1887. In Congo, he was in Congo, Ituri area. Fields of millet and sesame, plots of sweet potatoes occupied the outskirts of these plantations. and there was ample evidence round about that the land was thickly peopled and industrially cultivated. Later on, while traveling through the Riz area of Ankole in Uganda, he wrote as follows: crossing a narrow neck of land, descended into the basin of the Riz. By degrees, the misty atmosphere of this region was clearing, and we could now see about 5 miles distance and the contour of the pastoral plateau of Ankole. It was not by any means at its best. It was well into the drought season. The dry season had commenced 2 months previously. Hilly range, steep cone, hammock and plain were clothed with grass ripe for fire. The herds were numerous and all as fat as prize cattle. In the valley, we had passed over 4,000 cattle of the longhorned species. The basin of the Riz, which we are now in, and which was the heart of Ankole, possessed scores of the finest herds of cattle I had never seen before. This was a white man, Henry Morton Stanley, who came through this area in 1887, 1889. That's what he wrote. Found very powerful agriculture. He was clearly amazed by the scale of production. Therefore, this Africa of having no food, of begging, is not the real Africa, but the colonial and neo-colonial Africa. It is a shame. I need to conclude my remarks by talking about the issue of water for livelihood and for production, as well as the need for removing the non-tariff barriers in the CFTA, Continental Free Trade Area. Uganda is lucky in that we have a lot of water. Our major problem is to persuade our uninformed or misinformed people by guiding them to stop undermining our water resources by encroaching on the wetlands, the forests, the catchment areas, the river banks, and the lake shores. Some other parts of Africa, however, are not so lucky. Northern Africa has got a water problem. Even Southern Africa gets periodic shortages of water. Here in the Nile Valley, we are always arguing about the 85 billion cubic meters of that river at Khartoum, the River Nile. In the past, I posed a question to Dr. Boutros Ghali of Egypt, the following questions. Question number 1. Are you aware that the Congo River has got 3,000 billion cubic meters of water per annum going into the Atlantic Ocean? Because here in the Nile, we are quarreling about 85 billion cubic meters of water at Khartoum. But the River Congo is 3,000 billion cubic meters of water per year. In other words, the River Congo is equivalent to 30 Niles. Nile 1, Nile 2, Nile 3, Nile 3, 30 of them in the River Congo. Now, all this water is going into the Atlantic Ocean every year, just going. Is the Atlantic Ocean thirsty for water? Since this is a high-level meeting of Africa, you can tell me whether the Atlantic Ocean is thirsty for water, all this water which is going. Why doesn't Africa discuss with our brother people of Congo about how this massive water that is not used could help the water-stretched parts of Africa? Another question. Is Africa aware of the technology of desalination? Because we spend so much time talking about so many things. But I have never heard people talking about desalination. Desalination happens in nature, done by the sun, evaporating ocean water into vapor that eventually becomes rain. Why doesn't Africa intensively study this? If the cost of desalination goes down, Egypt and other coastal countries would become upstream countries, while we that harbor the origin of the Nile would become downstream countries. If this technology of desalination of seawater becomes cheap, then the countries near the ocean can even send us water from the ocean. On the issue of non-tariff barriers, there is no doubt that they undermine the advance of agriculture in Africa.